Hey kids, this is a team where you click Focus Blast like 3 or 4 times a game, so make sure that you take all the sharp objects out of your room before you use it. Once again, the clock is ticking down on my roach wife's tenure in OU, so I really have to maximize the amount of time we have left together. Quiver Dance Pheromosa is my favorite set, but it only works on high octane play like there's a girl watching you hyper offense, so here we are. Sash Imprison Landorus is a big brain HO lead, and this team pretty much loses as soon as Stealth Rocks gets set up against it because I have Focus Sash Pheromosa and Weakness Policy Dragonite. So Imprison combined with Taunt Grimmsnarl covers me against pretty much every Stealth Rock setter, even stupid shit like Mental Herb Shuckle. It also has Gravity, which is greatly appreciated because it gives me like one turn where I know I can click Focus Blast without having to perform a satanic ritual first. Grimmsnarl is my favorite dual screen setter, simply because he's easily the most Chad one. But Spirit Break was also useful in Zygarde Kyurem meta. BT dubs, this was just a truly Unga Bunga, everything broken dual screens team with Zygarde and Kyurem before they got quick banned. So I kind of had to scramble and use all 3 of my favorite brain cells to remember that, hey, Cinderace is pretty fucking good too. Bulk up Zen Headbutt Cinderace is an attempt to lure Toxapex for Pheromosa, and Sucker Punch helps with Scarf Spectrier. No Gunk Shot, because honestly it's pretty good to have Tapu Finis around to Moonblast or Draining Kiss the Weakness Policy Dragonite, which itself is a desperate attempt to not lose to Rain or Rillaboom. Also, Extreme Speed is useful to have around for other Pheromosas. Most importantly, Dragonite is the one kind of deep cut setup sweeper on this team, so it tricks people into thinking that this is like an actual team that I had to think about for longer than it took me to record this intro.
Ready? Go!
Garchomp is the only common Stealth Rocker that's faster than Jolly Landorus, so if they have one I always have to lead Grimmsnarl. Fairies Wear Boots is an Ozzy Osbourne song, by the way. You kids might know him as the guy who collabed with Post Malone. I go out into Kitten Mittens instead of setting up on the Tapu Lele with Magearna because I knew that was going to be Focus Sash Garchomp, and I just wanted the 0% chance of him tanking the hit and setting up Stealth Rocks, even though he definitely would have just Earthquaked me and I definitely would have just swept him with Magearna. But I just wanted one replay where I don't sweep someone in 12 turns with fucking Magearna. I don't have any room left on my fridge for any more of those. Here, I dual Wing Beat the Tapu Lele instead of Dragon Dancing, just in case it was Choice Scarf. I should have known that it was probably Choice Spec since it O-code Grimmsnarl through the light screen, but I didn't want to calc it because I've had sex before.
We'll see who brings in more honey.
The cool thing about Focus Sash on this set, instead of Life Orb, is that it will definitely trick people into thinking that you have Choice Scarf when Beast Boost gives you special attack instead of speed. Otherwise, this guy definitely would have wanted to go into the Scarf Kartana first and then Hawlucha. When I force the Kartana out with Cinderace, this guy definitely picks the wrong thing to switch into the Pyro Ball. If he had sacked the Alakazam instead and then went into the Spectrier, I 100% would have assumed that it was sub-Nasty Plot, and then way outplayed myself with Sucker Punch and lost horribly. It's like I would have tried to earn the Spectrier's trust by feeding it an apple out of my hand, and then it would have just kicked me in the fucking head. Anyway, this Focus Blast is for the guy in the Something Awful thread that said that it's pretty convenient that I always hit Focus Blast in my replays.
Ready? Go!
It's a pretty bad lead, but hilariously, Moltres is probably like the second most annoying defensive Pokemon for this team to deal with after Unaware Clefable, since it has the extremely cursed ability Flame Body, and the only thing on this team it's weak to is Magearna's Thunderbolt. When I summon my Insect Queen in attack mode, it dawns on me that probably the most hyper-optimized Pheromosa build possible is 0 HP IVs, so that Buzzwole gets less HP when it Drain Punches you. Resisted Focus Blast does the same damage as Neutral Ice Beam, but it stops Blissey from being able to switch in, and also just clicking Focus Blast under Gravity just makes me feel like Homelander jerking off over the city. Oh my god, it's so good. Ralph Smoggin, please don't take her away from me. She's all I have in this fucking wretched year. I definitely would have won this game right here, by the way, if this guy wasn't such an epic gamer. Cinderace is definitely the ugliest Pokemon I have left, and also isn't doing much for me as long as this guy has Slowking. So Johnny's gonna have to get his gun real quick. People definitely underestimate Grimmsnarl, just because the prankster cheese is so stinky. But he's a little more than just Chad Klefki. Like, sometimes the prank is that he just beats the shit out of you. I was definitely taunting and spirit breaking tank mons the entire time I was using this team. I even thought that Spirit Break didn't make contact because of how many times I would do it to Zapdoses without getting staticked. But it very does make contact. I guess I still just don't really understand what Grimmsnarl is doing to break their spirit. I imagine him showing them a graph of, like, wealth centralization in the United States or something. I definitely would have just double switched into Pheromosa here if it wasn't for the stupid future sight, but either way, Grimmsnarl does force him to switch his Slowking out into the much less broken Pokemon Blaziken. Blaziken really does seem like it kind of sucks now. And there was like a page and a half of discussion in the Smoggin thread about the unhealthy impact of Boots Regenerator Teleport Future Sight. What a time to be alive. I definitely should have just sacked Pheromosa to the Blaziken and then switched in Dragonite to preserve the multiscale for this Lando. But that's no way to treat my entomological Enamorata.
Ready? Go!
This guy's turn 1 completely just raw Calm Mind with his Tapu Fini is actually so much harder than anything I ever did with this team. I guess there is an argument to be made that Gravity doesn't actually do anything 70% of the time. If you're some kind of dweeb that cares more about numbers than spicy meatballs. Alright, Magearna, it's 3 PM. Time for your team flattening. This Pokemon is actually fucking preposterous. Magearna seems way better than Pheromosa. And I know I might be biased, and I know I might be desperately trying to justify the human money I spent to make Pheromosa my incredible something awful avatar. But Pheromosa honestly doesn't seem that much better than, like, Urshifu, whereas Magearna just beats everything. It even beats the teams that it's not actually equipped to beat, because everyone is running the 10,000 simulations in their head where it does have a set that beats their team, because it always has a set that beats every team. Since I've successfully broken this guy's team literally in half with Magearna, I can now bring in my cleaner, mono-attacking Grimmsnarl. This actually justifies running Grimmsnarl instead of Tapu Koko as the dual screener, I guess, because Koko wouldn't have been able to deal with both Landorus and Zapdos. What a core breaker. One day I'm actually going to crack the code and find out how to make sub-bulk-up Grimmsnarl work in OU. He's actually the fucking sickest Pokemon they ever made. After I got the Beast Boost from killing the Lando, I really should have just finished my plate and Focus Blasted the Urshifu. But to be honest, I'm pretty sure that I didn't even bother to check if it was the Water or Dark Urshifu. I guess the Church of Scientology was wrong about how much potential I have. Also, I reasonably could have lost here if I got staticked. So jot that down. Anyway, that's all I got. Fuck Nintendo.